Welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. It is a underreported, unnoticed, and shocking story. New Jersey leads the country in the number of deaths in county jails per capita. One of the reasons we know about this is because of whistleblower Robert Murie, who is a retired corrections officer. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. What is the root cause of this problem?
It's multiple problems rolled up into one. There's a problem with mental health in this state is not taken seriously.
We should point out almost all of the deaths are suicides.
No, there's other ones that are not.
The majority are suicides, though, right?
Majority are suicides. Yeah, okay. Mental health, biggest issue. When they closed the local facility, Ancora, they started shutting buildings down. They just came to jail. Well, we didn't get adequate training, which is the other part of the problem. We did not receive enough training to deal with people with these mental health issues. We get 16 hours a year of classroom training. We're supposed to have 40. I get another 6 hours for firearms qualifications a year. That's it. But I don't get the 40 that I'm supposed to have. We receive academy training just like police. We're considered police. A lot of people don't realize that. I have the same authorities when I was on duty and off duty that a police officer would have.
So you're saying if you were trained better, there'd
Yes.
be fewer deaths in the county jails, and the story is specifically the county jails.
Yes.
This isn't a widespread problem among all the other correction facilities. It seems to be focusing in on the county jails, and the problem keeps getting worse in that every year there's an increase of 5%, of 5%, of 10%. Yes. And so there's something going on at the county jails that's not happening across the system.
The facility I was at, Atlantic County, was built in 1984. It's not able to handle the people coming in that are suicidal. And if they're busy, they don't adequately question them. I've had them where they ran through the suicide questionnaire, and I ran through it a second time. It gets run through in admissions, the nurse runs through it, then the officer that takes them into a housing area is supposed to run through it. I would ask them the questions and get a different result.
See, you just pinpointed two key problems. So when somebody comes in, they're not being diagnosed, you're not being alerted, they're not saying, hey, this person has mental health problems, this person might be suicidal, you're not being alerted. And then even if you were alerted, you don't have the training to deal with that. But does the state care? Have they come in, have they inspected, have they seen this as a problem?
To my knowledge, no. They come in, they check our paperwork, and they assume that it's correct. It doesn't have to be correct. There's a lot of paperwork errors and things that happen in the jail. I've written numerous reports. I probably was one of the most prolific report writers in the facility. Suicide is a problem. Part of it, the stress comes in because the place is filthy. The showers are loaded with mold. The air vents spew out mold. As an officer, she did a really nice job on my face, and she took the stripe out. But I have a permanent stripe marking on my face from where I was hit with toxic mold from an air ventilation system.
But is that killing the inmates? That's not a reason for the deaths.
It puts a stress on them. They're in jail. Okay, they broke the law. It might be something minor. It could be shoplifting. They can't get out on bail. They're in jail. Now they're stressed.
Here's what I don't get.
They're doing drugs. They're not getting proper treatment. Now, Atlantic County has a methadone program inside of it. It's the only one in this state. It's not taken seriously.
So they're in the county jail, and they're in the county jail. If they committed a serious crime, they're only going to be there for a short time, right? They're going to move on to something else, right?
Oh, no, they could be there a year or more.
Really?
Yeah, waiting trial. I've had them in there 3 and 4 years. When we used to do contracted state inmates, I had them in there for 5 years.
Here's the disconnect that I have. We know about the problem. You know about the problem. As a matter of fact, you were a whistleblower, and I'll get to that in a moment. But why isn't the state taking this more seriously?
Money.
It's money?
Sure. Overtime. That's one of our biggest problems. We're short-staffed. Imagine you going home. You're right at the time clock, the clock out. You just did 8 hours, you're tired, and they say, you're stuck, you're going to stay for another 8 hours. So now you're doing 16.
So
we've had people in there 3 and 4 times a week do 16-hour shifts involuntarily.
So explain to me, though, if you had better staffing, there'd be people watching these inmates, or there'd be people around them all the time so that they wouldn't commit suicide, or could save them if they tried to?
Yes.
But then you're saying you don't even have the training to do that.
We don't have adequate training in the mental health aspect. Recognizing people with the identifiers of being suicidal, being able to ask them questions to see where their state of mind is.
The State Department of Corrections is supposed to inspect the county jails and make sure that you're handling things. And I would think that one of the things that they'd look at is how many deaths you've had in the county jail. When you were there, were the inspections adequate?
Most of the time, no.
How did
they were
fail?
a joke. They didn't come and talk to us. They talked to the administrators. They maybe made one walkthrough. There were a couple new inspectors that came in and asked questions. But then every officer in the facility I was in is scared to answer the questions.
Why scared?
I won a 1983 civil rights lawsuit against the former warden, Frank Mazzone, because he was harassing me as a union president because I was complaining about the conditions in the jail.
What were you saying at the time?
I had 62 suspension days.
What were you saying at the time? What when you were complaining?
Inadequate staffing.
Did you bring up the deaths?
At that time, we didn't have that many. This is back 90s and early 2000. They've been progressively increasing.
Yeah, I should say that the deaths we're talking about have been over the last decade.
Over the last decade, it has gotten progressively worse. And
worst in the country.
Yes.
I mean, it is an enormous problem. If 30 people died at the mall next week, everybody would be up in arms and trying to figure out what to do about it. But 30 people are dying in the county jails, and it doesn't seem like it's getting a whole lot of interest. So if somebody is diagnosed or is flagged to have mental health problems, you would rather them not go to the county jail at all. You'd rather them go somewhere where they can be looked at and treated?
We should have the facility within the jail to handle those people, because some of them are in there for murder. You can't go put them in a mental health institution. Sometimes remember, these people are manipulative. Hospital runs are escape risks, and I don't want to see officers put in jeopardy. We've had officers assaulted on hospital. They need to be in the jail. They need to have a properly designated area to handle mental health issues where you can observe them. When you've got a small window that big to look at them on, you can't really see what's going on. It needs to be a full glass.
You know what seems to be the biggest problem? Is that you need to get somebody to care about this.
Yes.
And it seems to me that everybody thinks it's a county jail. We'll just let this go.
No big deal.
No, don't even worry about it. Nobody's going to notice it.
Exactly. And money. It's an expensive proposition. Usually county jails are probably the largest expense within a county budget. I mean, I think one year we had like $4 million in medical.
Well, I know you're out there sounding the alarm, so maybe something will be done about it, and we will attempt to get somebody from the Department of Corrections in, too, to talk about this as well. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Austin.
Robert Murie, whistleblower and retired corrections officer. Jersey Matters continues right after this. Still to come on Jersey Matters, donuts like you've never had them before, and they come from right here in New Jersey. We'll tell you where it is when Jersey Matters continues.